You wake up again with that familiar tension, the restless energy that makes your skin feel too tight, your thoughts too scattered, your focus too fragmented to accomplish anything meaningful. You reach for the easy solution, the 5-minute fix that promises relief from the pressure building inside your chest. 20 minutes later, you're staring at the ceiling, feeling hollow. The energy that was driving you towards something, anything, has evaporated. The motivation that might have pushed you to hit the gym, call that client, write that chapter, or learn that skill has been drained away through the path of least resistance. You've just witnessed the daily tragedy of modern masculinity, the systematic conversion of life force into waste heat, the transformation of raw creative power into temporary numbness, the voluntary surrender of the very energy that could build your future in exchange for momentary relief from the discomfort of wanting something. Today, I'm going to reveal how the most powerful force in male psychology, the drive that built civilizations, conquered continents, and created everything worth creating, has been weaponized against your own success, and more importantly, how you can reclaim that force and redirect it toward achievements that matter. Modern men are living through an unprecedented crisis of dissipated energy. We have access to more stimulation, more distraction, and more instant gratification than any generation in human history. We also have less drive, less ambition, and less sustained focus than any generation in recent memory. This isn't coincidence. The same technologies that promise to enhance your life are systematically draining the biological mechanisms that create sustained motivation. Every time you choose immediate pleasure over delayed gratification, you're training your nervous system to prefer the path of least resistance over the path of greatest achievement. The male brain is designed around a simple principle: accumulate sexual energy, then discharge it through activities that increase your ability to compete for mates and resources. This energy was meant to drive you toward physical strength, social status, creative achievement, and resource acquisition. It was designed to make you restless until you had built something worth building. But modern life has hacked this system. Instead of using sexual tension to fuel achievement, we've learned to dissipate it through stimulation that requires no effort, creates no value, and builds no capability. We've turned the engine of ambition into a pressure release valve. The result is millions of men walking around in a state of artificial contentment, temporarily satisfied by experiences that leave them fundamentally unchanged. They've solved the symptom of sexual frustration while destroying the mechanism that creates lasting transformation. Understanding how this system works requires understanding what happens in your body when sexual energy is accumulated versus when it's released. These aren't just psychological differences, they're fundamental alterations in your brain chemistry that determine whether you operate from a position of strength or weakness. When sexual energy accumulates, your body increases production of testosterone, dopamine, and growth hormone. Your nervous system becomes more sensitive to opportunity and challenge. Your brain develops stronger connections between desire and action. You become physiologically optimized for taking risks, building strength, and pursuing difficult goals. After sexual release, your system floods with prolactin, a hormone that directly suppresses motivation, reduces testosterone, and creates feelings of satisfaction and complacency. This chemical cascade is designed to make you less aggressive, less driven, and less likely to take risks immediately after mating. In evolutionary terms, this makes perfect sense. After successfully mating, a male's immediate priorities should shift from competition and risk-taking to protection and resource conservation. The biological system assumes that if you've just had sex, you've temporarily won the mating competition and can afford to relax. But modern life has separated sexual release from sexual success. You can trigger the biological mechanisms of post-mating satisfaction without actually achieving any of the real-world victories that mating represents. You get the chemical reward of success without the actual achievement of success. This creates a state of false satisfaction, where your biology believes you're winning while your life circumstances demonstrate that you're actually stagnating. Your body chemistry tells you to relax and coast precisely when you should be building and striving. Every significant achievement in human history has been powered by men who learned to convert sexual energy into productive output. The same drive that seeks physical conquest can be redirected toward intellectual conquest, creative conquest, or economic conquest. The pyramids of Egypt, the cathedrals of Europe, the skyscrapers of modern cities. All of these represent sexual energy that was channeled into permanent creation rather than temporary release. The men who built these monuments had access to the same basic drives you have, but they lived in societies that required them to earn sexual access through achievement rather than simply taking it through stimulation. This connection between sexual energy and creative achievement isn't metaphorical, it's biological. The same testosterone that drives sexual behaviour also drives competition, risk-taking, and sustained effort toward difficult goals. The same dopamine systems that create sexual desire also create the motivation to pursue challenging projects over extended timeframes. When this energy is consistently released through stimulation rather than achievement, those biological systems begin to atrophy. You lose the capacity for sustained effort. You become satisfied with smaller victories. You develop tolerance for mediocrity because your reward systems are already being satisfied through easier means. The modern epidemic of male underachievement isn't about lack of opportunity or unfair social conditions. It's about the systematic hijacking of the biological mechanisms that create sustained drive toward meaningful goals. Sexual energy operates like pressure in a closed system. When pressure builds, it seeks release through whatever outlet is available. When you provide easy outlets, the pressure dissipates without creating useful work. When you eliminate easy outlets, the pressure builds until it becomes powerful enough to drive significant achievement. This principle explains why the most driven periods of many men's lives correspond with times when sexual energy was abundant but sexual outlets were limited. College students cramming for exams, athletes in training, entrepreneurs building companies. These high achievement phases often coincide with periods of sexual scarcity that forces energy into productive channels. The mistake most men make is viewing sexual tension as a problem to be solved rather than as energy to be harnessed. They experience the discomfort of accumulated drive and immediately seek relief rather than recognizing that discomfort as the fuel for breakthrough performance. This creates a cycle where temporary relief prevents permanent achievement. Each time you choose immediate satisfaction over sustained tension, you're trading future strength for present comfort. You're exchanging the power to build something significant for the pleasure of feeling briefly satisfied. The men who achieve exceptional results are typically those who have learned to tolerate significant amounts of tension for extended periods, while directing that tension toward goals that require sustained effort to achieve. Your biology was designed for an environment where obtaining sexual access required demonstrating survival value through hunting success, combat prowess, or resource acquisition. In that environment, sexual frustration naturally translated into motivation to develop the skills and accumulate the resources necessary to attract mates. Modern life has eliminated this connection. You can experience sexual satisfaction without developing any real-world capabilities. You can resolve sexual tension without becoming more attractive, more capable, or more successful. You can get the biological rewards of mating success while remaining completely unsuccessful in actual mating competition. This creates a psychological trap where your biology tells you you're succeeding while your circumstances demonstrate that you're failing. You feel satisfied in the short term while becoming less competitive in the long term. The result is men who are simultaneously sexually satisfied and romantically unsuccessful. They've solved their immediate biological drives while undermining their long-term attractiveness to the women they actually want to attract. Real women are attracted to men who demonstrate competence, achievement, and the ability to persist through challenges. These qualities are developed through the process of channeling sexual energy into skill development, physical improvement, and goal achievement. When that energy is consistently discharged through stimulation, those attractive qualities never develop. The process of converting sexual energy into achievement is called sublimation, and it represents one of the most powerful psychological mechanisms available to men. Sublimation doesn't eliminate sexual desire, it redirects that desire toward activities that enhance your overall attractiveness and capability. When properly sublimated, sexual energy becomes the driving force behind physical training, skill development, creative projects, and career advancement. The same intensity that seeks immediate release gets channeled into building the kind of life that naturally attracts the experiences you actually want. This process requires understanding that sexual frustration isn't your enemy. It's your fuel. The discomfort you feel when desire builds without immediate satisfaction is actually your nervous system generating the motivation necessary to pursue difficult long-term goals. Most men never learn this because they've been conditioned to view any form of frustration or discomfort as problems to be immediately solved. They've lost the ability to sit with tension long enough for that tension to transform into sustained motivation toward meaningful objectives. Learning to sublimate effectively means learning to interpret sexual tension as energy rather than emergency. It means viewing the discomfort of accumulated desire as the price of admission to high achievement rather than as suffering to be immediately relieved. Converting sexual energy into productive achievement follows a predictable timeline that most men never complete because they abort the process too early. Understanding this timeline helps you persist through the initial discomfort to reach the productivity benefits. The first week of energy retention typically involves increased restlessness, improved mood, and slightly enhanced motivation. These early benefits feel good but aren't dramatic enough to create significant life changes. The second and third weeks often involve increased irritability, stronger emotional responses, and noticeable improvements in physical energy and mental clarity. This is when many men abandon the process because the emotional intensity feels uncomfortable. Week 4 and beyond is when the real transformation begins. Mental focus sharpens dramatically. Physical energy becomes abundant. Creative ideas flow more freely. The motivation to pursue challenging goals intensifies. Risk tolerance increases. Social confidence improves. Most importantly, activities that previously felt like work begin feeling like expression. The gym becomes a place to discharge energy rather than a chore to endure. Creative projects become compelling rather than optional. Business building becomes exciting rather than overwhelming. This transformation happens because you're finally operating with the full power of your biological drive systems, rather than running on the diminished energy that remains after constant dissipation. If you're starting to understand how sexual energy management might be the missing piece in your motivation and achievement puzzle, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. What I'm revealing today challenges fundamental assumptions about male sexuality and productivity that most men never question, and there's much more to explore about optimizing your biological systems for success. One of the most immediate benefits of energy retention is the dramatic improvement in cognitive focus and mental clarity. Sexual release triggers neurochemical changes that reduce concentration ability for days or even weeks afterward. Eliminating this regular disruption to your brain chemistry creates sustained periods of enhanced mental performance. This focus improvement isn't subtle. Men who successfully practice energy retention report being able to concentrate on demanding tasks for hours without distraction. Complex problems become easier to solve. Learning new skills happens faster. Memory retention improves noticeably. The mechanism behind this cognitive enhancement involves dopamine sensitivity and neuroplasticity. Constant sexual stimulation desensitizes your brain's reward systems, making it harder to find motivation for activities that require sustained mental effort. When you remove this overstimulation, your brain becomes more responsive to the natural rewards of achievement and progress. Enhanced focus also creates compound benefits over time. When you can concentrate deeply for extended periods, you accomplish more in less time. This efficiency creates positive feedback loops where success builds momentum for further success. Projects that previously seemed overwhelming become manageable when approached with sustained attention. Sexual energy retention doesn't just affect your mind. It creates measurable improvements in physical performance, body composition, and overall vitality. The hormonal changes that occur during energy accumulation optimize your body for strength building, fat loss, and athletic performance. Testosterone levels increase significantly when sexual release is eliminated, leading to improved muscle building capacity, reduced body fat, and enhanced recovery from physical training. Energy levels throughout the day become more stable and abundant. Sleep quality improves, leading to better recovery and hormone optimization. Many men report that their workout performance improves dramatically within weeks of beginning energy retention. Weights that previously felt heavy become manageable. Endurance activities become less taxing. The motivation to maintain consistent training increases substantially. This physical transformation occurs because you're allowing your body to operate with its natural hormonal profile rather than the suppressed hormone levels that result from frequent sexual release. your physiology returns to its evolutionary baseline, optimized for competition and achievement. Perhaps the most noticeable change men experience during energy retention is increased social confidence and charisma. This isn't just psychological, it's the result of measurable changes in posture, vocal tonality, eye contact patterns, and overall presence. Accumulated sexual energy creates what researchers call alpha behavioral patterns, increased dominance displays, stronger leadership tendencies, and more assertive communication styles. These changes happen automatically as your hormone levels shift toward their natural competitive state. Women often report being more attracted to men who are practicing energy retention, even when they're not consciously aware of what's different about their behavior. The subtle changes in confidence, energy, and presence register at a subconscious level that influences attraction and social dynamics. This social transformation occurs because sexual energy is fundamentally social energy. When that energy is retained rather than dissipated, it naturally expresses itself through improved social dominance, better leadership skills, and more compelling interpersonal presence. One of the most profound benefits of energy retention is the explosion of creative energy and innovative thinking that typically emerges after several weeks of practice. Sexual energy and creative energy share the same biological pathways, which explains why artists, writers, and inventors throughout history have often practiced periods of sexual abstinence during intense creative phases. Creative ideas begin flowing more freely. Solutions to complex problems appear spontaneously. The motivation to pursue artistic projects intensifies dramatically. Many men report starting creative endeavors they had previously only dreamed about, finding the sustained motivation necessary to complete complex projects. This creative enhancement occurs because sexual energy is fundamentally creative energy. It's the biological force designed to create new life. When that energy is retained rather than released, it seeks expression through other forms of creation: art, music, writing, business building, or innovation. The quality of creative work also improves during energy retention. Ideas become more original. Execution becomes more persistent. The willingness to iterate and improve increases substantially. Creative projects that previously felt like hobbies begin feeling like callings. Energy retention dramatically increases risk tolerance and entrepreneurial thinking. Men who practice sustained energy accumulation report being more willing to start businesses, make career changes, pursue challenging goals, and take calculated risks that could improve their circumstances. This increased risk tolerance occurs because sexual energy and competitive energy are biologically linked. When sexual energy accumulates, your nervous system becomes optimized for competition, challenge, and the pursuit of difficult objectives. Activities that previously felt too risky begin feeling like exciting opportunities. Business ventures become more appealing. Investment opportunities that previously seemed too aggressive begin looking reasonable. The willingness to have difficult conversations increases. Career advancement becomes a priority rather than just a possibility. This risk tolerance shift is particularly powerful because it tends to be selective rather than reckless. Men report becoming more willing to take intelligent risks while becoming less interested in stupid ones. The energy that might have been dissipated through instant gratification gets channeled into calculated bets on future success. Energy retention creates a cascade of improved discipline that extends far beyond sexual behavior. Men who successfully practice energy management report improvements in diet discipline, exercise consistency, time management, and overall self-control. This discipline compound effect occurs because sexual energy management requires developing the fundamental skill of delayed gratification. Once you prove to yourself that you can postpone immediate pleasure for long-term benefits in one area, that capability transfers to other areas of life. Financial discipline improves as the same impulse control that manages sexual energy gets applied to spending decisions. Nutritional discipline strengthens as the ability to resist immediate gratification transfers to food choices. Time management becomes easier as the skills developed through energy retention get applied to productivity systems. The result is men who become generally more disciplined across all areas of life, not just sexual behavior. This single practice of energy retention becomes a keystone habit that supports improvement in multiple life domains simultaneously. Men who practice energy retention often discover that their relationships with women improve dramatically, even when those women aren't aware of the change in behavior. The increased confidence, energy, and presence that result from energy accumulation make men more attractive partners and more compelling companions. Conversations become more engaging. Leadership in relationships becomes more natural. The neediness and approval-seeking that often characterize male behavior in relationships diminishes substantially. Women respond positively to the increased masculine presence and confidence. This relationship improvement occurs because energy retention eliminates the post-release emotional and hormonal crashes that often make men less attractive partners. Instead of cycling between artificial highs and natural lows, men maintain more consistent energy and mood levels. Paradoxically, men who practice energy retention often find that they have more satisfying sexual relationships with partners because their increased energy and confidence create more attraction and enthusiasm from women. Perhaps the most valuable benefit of energy retention is the development of consistent motivation rather than the sporadic burst of enthusiasm that characterize most men's approach to goals. When sexual energy is retained, motivation becomes steady and reliable rather than unpredictable and temporary. This motivation consistency allows for the sustained effort necessary to achieve significant goals. Complex projects become achievable because you can maintain focus and energy for the months or years required to complete them. Skill development becomes possible because you can persist through the practice required to achieve mastery. Business building becomes realistic because you can maintain the consistent effort necessary to overcome obstacles and build momentum. Physical transformation becomes achievable because you can sustain the training and nutrition discipline required for real change. The men who achieve exceptional results in any field are typically those who can maintain consistent effort over extended periods. Energy retention creates the biological foundation for this kind of sustained high performance. Successfully converting sexual energy into achievement requires a systematic approach that goes beyond simple abstinence. The energy must be actively channeled into productive activities, or it will seek release through other potentially destructive outlets. Physical training becomes essential for managing the increased energy and aggression that result from retention. Intense workouts provide a healthy outlet for accumulated energy, while building strength and improving appearance. Creative projects provide another essential channel for energy expression. Whether through writing, music, art, or business building, creative outlets allow sexual energy to transform into productive creation, rather than seeking release through stimulation. Goal setting becomes crucial for directing accumulated energy toward meaningful objectives. Without clear targets for your enhanced motivation and focus, the energy may dissipate through random activities rather than building towards specific achievements. Social engagement helps channel increased confidence and presence into improved relationships and expanded social circles. The enhanced charisma that results from energy retention should be directed toward building valuable connections rather than wasted on superficial interactions. The fundamental truth about male motivation is that sexual energy is life energy, and how you manage that energy determines the trajectory of your entire existence. Every time you choose immediate relief over sustained tension, you're trading future power for present comfort. The men who build exceptional lives are typically those who learn to harness their biological drive systems rather than being controlled by them. They convert the same energy that could be wasted on temporary pleasure into the sustained motivation necessary to create lasting achievement. This isn't about sexual repression or denial of natural drives. It's about understanding that your strongest biological impulses can either work for your long-term success or against it, depending on how intelligently you manage them. The choice is simple but not easy. Continue dissipating your life force through temporary satisfaction while wondering why you lack the motivation to build something significant, or learn to channel that same energy into achievements that compound over time. The men who master energy retention don't just become more motivated, they become different types of men entirely. They develop the sustained drive, consistent focus, and accumulated confidence necessary to pursue goals that require years of sustained effort to achieve. If this explanation of how to convert desire into strength has helped you understand why your motivation fluctuates and how to create more consistent drive toward your goals, subscribe to this channel for more insights into optimizing your biology for success. Hit that notification bell, because understanding these principles could transform not just your productivity, but your entire approach to building the life you actually want. Share this video with any man who's tired of cycling between temporary motivation and persistent mediocrity. The difference between men who achieve exceptional results and those who remain average often comes down to how effectively they harness the most powerful force in male psychology,